Welcome back after the short break. This is Natalia Krzanowska. I will be the host for Reminder of the conference today. And we have some fantastic talks scheduled for this afternoon, starting with a keynote that will explore a topic that has significantly shaped the way we do clinical data analysis in the recent years. And our next speaker, Aga Resińska, who's the head of customer success at Epsilon. She's got background in biotechnology, bioinformatics, and a strong expertise in clinical and omics data science. She will show how combining the analytical power of R and the interactivity of Shiny, we can transform how pharmaceutical companies connect data to decisions. Aga, the stage is yours.
Thanks a lot, Nat, for the introduction. Now it's time for the slides to get in and get some good morning today. So I'm Aga, and I'm excited that I will be speaking today about something that is transforming the pharmaceutical industry. So how R and Shiny are revolutionizing clinical trial analysis. So before we dive in, I want to set the context for our conversation today. We are not just talking about new visualization tools or programming languages. We are going to discuss a fundamental shift in how we approach clinical analytics development, moving from static to dynamic, from siloed to connected, and from delayed to near real-time insights. So let's frame the problem. In today's pharmaceutical industry, data for decision-making certainly exists. In 2025, collecting data is no longer the problem. We have several sources generating and captured in electronic systems, mobile health apps, wearables. We have omics analytics and much, much more. And all of these generate a vast volumes of data. And the real challenge is converting that information into timely insights that drive critical decisions. So every day that passes between data collection and actionable insight represents lost time, lost money, and most importantly, delayed treatment for patients who need them. So our journey today will take us through three major phases. We will start with how it is at this moment with traditional approach to clinical trial analytics and its limitations. Then we are going to focus on how R and Shiny are transforming this landscape across technical implementation, business impact, and practical deployment. Finally, as we all look ahead, what's up next, we can also touch AI and advanced analytics that further enhance these capabilities. This is more than technology. This is about reimagining the entire decision-making ecosystem in clinical development. So here is the reality. From data collection to the decision, the timeline to first decision, the timeline typically extends beyond 120 days, more or less on average. That's 4 months where critical information sits in various states of processing before it can drive actions. And the stakes are big. And it's not only in delays in lost revenues, but also pre-approval delays can cost even daily in lost revenue opportunity. And these aren't abstract numbers. They represent real value that could be invested either in a new research, expand patient access, or even improve the outcomes. When we look at the decision gap, the impact of these delays varies across development stages, but it is significant throughout. In the early stage trials, when we need to move things really fast, make decisions really fast. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, we have to kill it very early. Here, we are seeing operational cost per day with up to 6 months delays to the next phase decisions. The key bottlenecks like safety signal detection, can take up to 2 weeks, but can be reduced into days with the right approaches. On the other hand, in the late-stage trials, the stakes also increase. Here, we are more focused on strict SOP, SAP implementations. We need to be very detailed-oriented, and it needs to be compliant as we aim for the submission in the future. Not to mention that the number of patients also is higher. So here, the operational costs are also increasing, and potential drugs and daily opportunities also generate cost. And even the interim analysis can take weeks that could be potentially compressed to a shorter timeline. So the strategic impact is a key. So each month of delay means a lost month of market exclusivity, directly impacting the lifetime value of the assets. Let's quantify it even further. So looking at the funnel visualization here on the right, we start with enormous volumes of raw data from different sources, which gets then processed, analyzed, and ultimately distilled into that tiny but crucial segment at the bottom, the actionable insights. So our challenge is to make this funnel work more efficiently without sacrificing quality or compliance. For example, when we look at the phase 3 trial that generates 1 million data points, but it typically takes at least 6 months to translate into first actionable insight. And it can vary depending on the trial and the indication. So the gaps can be even further. Also, even more concerning is that we spent our time not only analyzing the data, but also waiting for it rather than acting on it. And to understand why it's happened, let's also look at today's clinical data ecosystem. So raw data collected in EDC systems represents up to 70% of the clinical data. They operate on daily or weekly batch updates. Then if we add to this ecosystem another lab data for around 20% with weekly transfers, sometimes often in custom formats. Then we can also have patient-reported outcomes via questionnaires, imaging data, omics data, biomarkers, real-world data sources, and many, many more. And each of these streams operates on different timelines, format, and governance structures. And the traditional analytics approach simply aren't designed for this level of diversity and complexity. And the fragmentation creates a complex ecosystem at the end that's difficult to navigate efficiently. Let's look even further. Where exactly does this time can disappear in the process? So the delays occur across multiple stages. They can be really small or even weeks. If we look at data transfer, can consume alone up to 3 weeks. Programming backlogs are not shortening, rather being length. So here also adding sub-processes like validation, documentation, then issue resolutions that add further delays. And weeks turn into months. Revision and review cycles then contribute a further weeks. Each handoff between teams, system, processes, tools creates friction that slows down the entire pipeline and adds another layer of the complexity. And if we map the current landscape on a standard quadrant analysis, we see interesting patterns emerging. So in the lower left, we have traditional statistical programming. High usage, but increasingly limited impact as complexity grows. So in the upper left, we have advanced analytics that offers high business impact, but often with difficult implementation barriers. The lower right shows that it's easy to implement visualization tools, but it has a moderate impact, especially used in isolation. So the opportunity space, so the upper right quadrant that we are talking about, is where the interactive advanced analytics platform that can also include Orange Shiny tools provide high business impact with the moderate implementation complexity at this moment. So here in the highlighted area is where the transformative value is being created and stored already today. And let's lift our focus to the solution space. So Orange Shiny represents a powerful combination that can address many of the challenges that we have identified so far in the space. R brings statistical rigor, reproducibility, and a great ecosystem of packages that are specifically designed for clinical trial data analysis. In the same time, Shiny transforms the static outputs into interactive applications that allows users to explore, analyze, and derive insights in real time immediately. Together, they create a framework that dramatically accelerates the journey from data to decision. And if we ask ourselves what makes this Orange Shiny particularly powerful, is their ability to integrate with the entire clinical development ecosystem. So starting from the data, from the study definitions, standards, terminology at the beginning, throughout the data processing and transformation, to the analysis and visualization, adding another layer related to security, reporting, output generation, and the deployment. It all provides an end-to-end coverage and creates an environment where insight can flow seamlessly across traditional boundaries. So when we map it even further on the clinical trial data flow, the R provides capabilities at every stage. Starting from the trial design and planning, there are packages and tools that can support sample size calculation, adaptive design. They can also help in terms of deriving the protocols and planning and even further simulations. Then if we go for data collection, we already have tools not only for clinical but omics, but other specialized data sources. Then moving forward to the data management, the integration with platforms that already exist, like Databricks, ensures scalable processing and storing. Then we can move to the rich ecosystem when it comes to analysis and reporting. Not to mention that this layer includes metadata management, analysis-ready dataset generation, and standards displays. Static, but also interactive, as we will see in a moment. This all feeds into submission-ready outputs that meet regulatory requirements. And even further for the post-approval. This rich ecosystem means that teams don't need to build from scratch. They can assemble already components to accelerate the implementation and use it in your own end-to-end solution. So the toolset ensures that every step of the process is supported by purpose-built solution. And that means also that the data can flow bidirectionally from raw data to decision, as traditionally, but also creating a learning system in the back that improves with each iteration and each of this stage, as the insight can give us more information even for the very early stage of the study setup. And it's a very important and valuable information. And if we go from static to interactive, then the fundamental shift here on the concrete examples. Traditional safety tables provide fixed adverse event summaries with counts and percentage. Imagine that if you have an interactive safety explorer, your users are allowed to filter by severity, causality, with dynamic drill down capabilities and visual signals highlighting potential concerns. Another example, a standard efficacy table with treatment differences that can become a dynamic endpoint visualization, showing treatment effects with confidence interval and on-demand subgroup analysis. The key difference are important: dynamic filtering, drill down capabilities, visual signaling, on-demand subgroup generation, and seamless movement from summary to patient-level data. What previously took days of back and forth requests now can take minutes. So we can explore hypotheses early, real time, for example, during team meetings, rather than scheduling follow-up sessions weeks later. And this transformation from static to interactive, it's even measurable. So we already know that real-time analytics can improve early go, no-go decision. The patient selection improves by thorough better target population definition. The optimization on the endpoint selection gives us a better predictive power throughout exploratory analysis. Also, another example is adaptive design implementation that increase the probability of the success. Not to mention and not to forget about the valuable interactive elements that also include real-time data refresh, on-demand filtering and subgroup analysis, cross-source data integration versus siloed reports, statistical recalculation based on selections versus fixed analysis, and highlighting of any discrepancies versus manual review. So all these capabilities that are difficult or almost impossible with static reports that we are generating. Importantly, it also aligns perfectly with industry initiatives like CDX 360i. So the concept-based, meta-driven approach to analysis, where the standards are also machine-readable formats. Then include interactive visualization that enables dynamic exploration. Also, it allows cross-domain data relationship to be more explicit and explorable. All near real-time response, not only to regulatory question, but to study team question, to R&D teams question, to clinicals questions, to leadership questions. And both R and Shiny implementation maps to the component, positioning the organization for the future of the regulatory submission. So metadata repository and the R configuration settings. Standards with the R package ecosystem. Analysis results metadata and the reproducible R analysis. And finally, the data visualization, but interactive in the dashboard. What's also amazing in this transformation is that it is a collaborative foundation. So major pharmaceutical companies are actively contributing to open source packages throughout initiatives, individual or like PharmaVest. So this is a shared investment that reduces the duplication, accelerates validation, but importantly highlights the industry-wide standard and execution of it that benefit everyone. But most importantly, patients, because they are waiting for those breakthrough treatments to be on the market. So it might be a little bit overwhelming to start, but it's actually not. You can begin your journey depending on what your desired outcome is. If you're looking for a fastest ROI and to demonstrate value quickly, you can start with visualizations. Remember about standards. It is a benefit, and it has been a benefit across multiple studies. So expand SDTM ADAM transformation in order to unlock it. Integrate with data collections, also to enable real-time insight from different sources. The data in the organization is there. Might be hidden, but it's actually there and can provide you with really valuable insights. And finally, build your submission capabilities to realize that you meet regulatory acceptance criteria, not all in once, but step by step, as this stepped approach allows to realize value at each state while building toward comprehensive transformation. You don't want to disturb your current processes. You want to make a step forward. So, theory is valuable, but here comes the real-world implementation, that what drives the change. I wanted to show you today some case studies that demonstrate the practical impact using both R and Shiny from different stages of the clinical trial flow. So I'll start with the first case study focused on the safety monitoring, one of the key foundation stage. So before, the safety reviews occurred monthly with manual review, a lot of adverse events to investigate, and with the limited ability to detect patterns. In the same time, it also showed the delay in identifying important safety signals. Then, when we comes to the implementation, and the team used an interactive dashboard with daily data refresh, automated refreshes, and automated statistical signal detection, and drill down capability from signals to patient level data. All these give a chance for a risk-based monitoring approach with heat map of sites by risk factors and automated flagging on concerning trends in key metrics. The results? The critical safety signals were identified in days rather than weeks, with potential issue addressed before they impacted patient safety. So the decision can be done based on the concrete metrics, data, and on a timely manner. The second case I want to show you today, it's related to portfolio decision making. So the challenge here is that the go, no-go decisions used to be based on limited scenario planning with static success probability estimated, updated quarterly, likely sometimes monthly. So the previous approach led to 40% of compounds that advanced to phase 3, but then only 35% of those succeeded. And to address those challenges, the solution was a dynamic probability of success application that's built with Shiny, but also with R underneath. When the compound comparison, analysis, and optimization, also at the layer stage, integrating data from other compounds, real-time clinical data, and other based response predictors. So key features here included these adjustable parameters, scenario comparison in order to develop multiple strategies, and optimization algorithms that maximize the expected value across the portfolio. So it not only showed the better predictive accuracy, but also enhance the early termination decision within the portfolio that saved not only time but also resources in development costs in order to prioritize the assets with enhanced probability of success from different strategies. And in the end, the overall portfolio expected value increased. These are not only theoretical benefits. These shows the tangible value that can be created through better, faster decision based on the data. Another case study that I want to share with you today is adaptive trial decision support. Such designs present unique challenges. For example, you need to maintain trial integrity while also evaluating the interim data. You need to secure access for stakeholders at different levels to interim results. Not to mention managing complex statistical consideration and maintaining a complete record of analysis, deliverables, and decisions. And here comes also a Shiny Solutions that provided an interactive simulation tool for sample size re-estimation, allowing different scenarios to be evaluated in hours versus weeks during the meeting rather than via recurring calls. Also, during the meetings and showing the real-time scenario modeling that enabled the immediate exploration of questions and concerns. As a benefit, also automated documentation that can be used for the regulatory process in order to show each of the steps for the design. The last example that I want to share with you today address one of the complex challenges that we see when the amount of the data rises, so integration. Here it is related to different data complexity coming from omics and clinical outcomes. And the timeline bottleneck not only comes from the complexity of the data, but also from the time that needs to be allocated in order from sample collection to the actionable insights. And a solution with an end-to-end pipeline from raw data to clinical correlations with the interactive visualization of treatment effects by biomarker expression. Also, additionally, statistical modeling frameworks from predictive biomarkers were included. But not only that, when we look at the in the back, we saw like automated QC workflows and frameworks in order to ensure the standardization, not only the workflow, but generally all the code that has been produced. And the outcome were satisfactory. So not only identify of the key response markers quicker in weeks rather than months, but also gave insight to the teams on the early stages in order to amend the protocol to enrich for responsive population and standardized biomarker analysis for further exploratory analysis. With this value proposition established, let's now turn to practical implementation. So how the organization can make this transformation real? I believe that this key to successful implementation is a modular approach with reusable components. So let's dive deeper into the component architecture. In the core and the bottom, we have a core data standardized in clinical formats. Standardized and the standards are executed. The next layer would be standard analysis module. It can be safety, efficacy, for example, PK/PD, any other module that is related to the analytics. Another layer up is the visualization libraries that ensure the consistency across the application. And on the top, we have study-specific customization. All this is also linked with a robust version control strategy using GitHub, GitLab, or any other version control tool. Integration ensures validated components, that they are reliable and also enable for continuous improvement, deployment, high code quality, validation, and readiness and tracking. So the reuse metrics are really compelling as the code can be reusable across the studies. And then the new study implementation can go down from weeks to days, from months to weeks. Apologies. It would be great to have days, but it's another step. Also, when it comes to reduction in the validation, also user interface consistently across application. Imagine that you are also working with several studies in the same time, different phases, maybe the same group of indications. So, for example, all are from the oncology space, but they are from phase 2, 3, and different setup of the arms. And you are in the same time exploring it. Imagine that how important can be the user interface and the consistency across the application. And you don't have to learn every single time the application, its flow, and how to work with. But technology alone isn't enough. Successful transformation always requires rethinking also how teams collaborate and work together. So the shift into interactive advanced analytics also fundamentally changes the collaboration patterns. And it's not only a challenge, it's also a chance to change the linear document-centered process with slow feedback cycles into a circular conversation-centered approach with rapid feedback. And also the metric speaks from themselves in accordance to the communication cycles, the first-time quality, questions answered in the same day, increase in exploratory analysis with the same resource, and also reduction in rework. And we talk a lot about efficiency, productivity, and being faster. But in the same time, let's look deeper, because the changing how we work and collaboratively agile work can qualitatively change the ways of working that also unlock creativity and insight discovery within our teams. Change is never easy. No one says it will be easy, and it never is. So it is also a critical part of this transformation. So apart from the technology business, you also have the change management. A thoughtful implementation roadmap can include pilot project selection criteria, then running a parallel approach with traditional methods as you don't want to disrupt your current workflows, clear stakeholders engagement strategy, and metrics for measuring adoption and impacts, so that everyone is known why they are doing and how we are going to measure our success. And in this, once you go with the basics, then go with scaling your strategy across portfolio, because during the process you will already learn. And the transformation is also linked with some common resistance points and mitigation strategies: regulatory concerns, technical skill gap, process disruption. Is it consistent with the statistical results that we have so far? IT infrastructure, and many, many more. But the transformation is already happening. And what's even better, we can learn from each other. And the lessons learned from already successful implementations, full or just a part of it, emphasize starting with high value, low risk application, also securing executive sponsorship early, and investing in validation for initial projects. This is a learning curve. Building communities of practice across teams, across the organization, celebrating early wins, not waiting till the end, but every tiny little milestone is also important, and the engagement of the people. And in the end, address skepticism with data rather than assertion. Be clear here. But ultimately, transformation must deliver measurable business impact. So let's look at the return of the investments and comparing the traditional approaches to moving towards the open source or Shiny implementation across key metrics. Let's start with time metrics that come from different stages and different decision points, from database log to generating figures that we are including, to reacting on ad hoc analysis requests or detect the signals, or even impact on the protocol amendment. So we are shortening the time to deliver when it comes to several areas. But time is not only the only metrics that we look for. We also look at the quality metrics, because we don't want to also be worse here, but even better. Being attached to standards, automation, gives us a chance to improve the capturing of data inconsistency, reduction in programming errors, and also reduction in rework cycles. All this has also linked with the business impact metrics that capture the strategic value. And here, apart from shortened development timelines, resource requirements, also very important, the decision quality improvement. Because beyond the efficiency, all these approaches significantly elevate quality, and not only in terms of quality of the code itself, but general the process. With the error detection, with protocol identification deviations, by data query, and first-time quality of analysis. The communication, the feedback loop, the learning curve is also helping here. So we all see that it impacts on different levels, and these quality improvements also translate directly to better readiness and, most importantly, to enhance the patient safety. All this together goes with the cumulative effect. It might be just small little steps, but when it comes together, it has an acceleration in time to market. So not only in terms of interim analysis, but also final analysis or regulatory submission preparation. But all in all, those timelines directly address these opportunities we discussed earlier when it comes to value that can be redirected to important assets, because the overall development timeline reduce, so the new capability, efficiency arise and can be focused on a higher priority on more advanced tasks. So as we look ahead, what's next in this evolution? I believe AI will be the first answer, as everyone talks about it. And the integration of AI with R-Shiny creates a compelling roadmap. If you didn't attend yesterday's keynote, catch up, and we can see a lot of potential places for the application, both short-term, mid-term, long-term. The list here is just an example. It can be definitely larger. So it is a potential that it's just here. And with the foundation we are building today, with standards, with automation, with workflows, with processes, with collaboration, with metadata, also giving us a chance to actually embrace those AI capabilities and to use them in the advanced analytics and clinical data flow. So building the foundation first and using all the powers that comes from the AI also transform the landscape and provide the capabilities not only today, but even not even tomorrow, but even today. So how to start, and with all of this potential, and how to begin this journey? I would say start. And here is also a practical example 90 implementation roadmap that can gives you value very quickly. So starting with setup and training and defining the first pilot application development. After first month, you already have the value to show and first lessons learned. And then slowly validate, go with the user acceptance and expansion to additional use cases. So iterate, and reiterate. And there will be pitfalls, and some of those we already know because we are learning and everyone is trying and experimenting. So you can already avoid including starting too complex. Start simple and then iterate. Do not skip validation and being detail-oriented. Invest in training and your data pipeline architecture. But most importantly, let's not neglect user experience. These are your stakeholders, and their experience also matters. And also, you can leverage some critical success factors. This is executive sponsorship, cross-functional teams, robust technical infrastructure, and clear success metrics. So this phase approach allows you to demonstrate value quickly while building towards the comprehensive transformation, step by step. So we collect more data than ever before in clinical trials development, more diverse, more frequent, more complex. There are tools, framework, approaches that we discussed today and that are also out there, and they aren't theoretical concepts from some distant futures. These practical solutions are being implemented now by multiple organizations across the industry. So the transformation in clinical analytics isn't just about technology. It's also about foundations and patience in the end. Because every day we accelerate a decision is a day closer to delivering new treatment to those who need them and wait for them. Today, I want to leave you with this question. Are you ready to speed up the journey from raw data to actionable insight that drive decisions? And thank you for your attention. And I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Aga. That was a very insightful presentation. I did have so many questions on the way, but I felt like every single chapter of your presentation answered them all, or at least most of them. I feel like this presentation could serve as a base for a lot of directors in data science and biostatistician department as a roadmap, as a starting point to how to implement open source in the pipelines, in the data workflows. But we have one question from the audience. William is asking how the Shiny modeling is affected by AI, and specifically when we speak about machine learning applied in medical methods.
Okay, thank you. First of all, thank you for the question. So I would divide it into two ways, like modeling and then Shiny, because for me, it can be like ML or generally machine learning can be in modeling, and statistical can be done in various ways, and then the Shiny layer could enable to actually interact with it and help out. So I would say there is a power in that, and not only within the Shiny for R, but also for Python, depending also how the modeling is performed. Either your models and can be easily interact with the end users can also react, and real-time insights that these analytics doesn't have to be run in the background, can go live, and then the results can be shared and make decisions based on that when it comes to fine-tuning the models, for example. Hopefully that answered the question. If not, I'll be happy to follow up directly so that learn the bigger context and provide the more concrete answer if needed.
Thank you so much, Aga. And what would you recommend if for an organization that maybe is not ready for the Shiny adoption due to limited or lack of infrastructure? And yeah, where the company should start the process?
Okay, that's an interesting question, as it touches two things. First of all, the lack of the infrastructure, but in the same time, start with very simple concept. Shiny itself is open source, so to build something at first, you don't need an intensive, very complex infrastructure to build it on. And once you like scale, then you can learn and then iterate and add more and see what are your actual needs and what your users are needs. Because the key here is also with planning and designing it, because the success doesn't come just because adapting those tools, but also adapting it mindfully. So exploring the cases where Shiny can be a good fit over here. Do a pilot, run an experiment, engage some users, see if there's a simple dashboard or maybe more extensive dashboard is needed, or there is other open source tools that can be also leveraged here. So I would say first, let's go for it, of course, action, though not too complex, but start simple and then build over in the top, because that would give you a better solution based on the challenge and problem or hypothesis that you are testing, and it will be more tailored and also not only scalable, but also addressing the challenges that the individual organization is facing. That would be my suggestion here.
Thank you so much, Aga. Small steps and start with small projects and then widespread enterprise adoption.
Absolutely.
One more question from the audience, from Amo. What would be your recommendation for team structure to enable cross-department interactions?
Oh, I love these questions about the team structures and also experience knowledge. When it comes to the cross-functioning teams, it already gives a hint that we're talking about people with diverse skill set, that they can together tackle the challenge, working together, collaborating, exchanging the insight, and each of the person is putting its input. So depending on what kind of project or analytics you're doing, is it more you need some data science skill sets, some programming skill sets, some project management skill sets? So I would look at all those strengths that people bring to the team, and can also build together as a group, and collaboratively can work with the data, with analytics, with the challenges. So that would be the structure. I would look what kind of strength the people have and what is the ultimate goal, because I do believe that with those skill set, knowledge, training, support, the teams can handle the challenge together and solely, independently.
Thank you so much. There's been a lot of clapping hands after your presentation. I think, deserves a round of applause. Thank you so much for sharing all this insight and the amazing presentation. For our audience, I also want to recommend that Aga is curating a monthly newsletter that is published on LinkedIn, and we also doing an extended version via email. So I highly recommend to sign up. I will share the link in the chat. And Aga will stay probably to answer the questions on the chat.
Yes.
So thank you so much. And then we are moving on.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.